Hey folks, welcome to another joyful learning day. This is Chaitanya Gundi. I am a data analytics coach and the co-founder of Swachh Data Analytics Hub. I am on a mission to help 1 million working professionals achieve career growth by learning the skills of data analytics and business analytics. When it comes to data science, we know that statistics is one of the core disciplines of data analytics or data science. And when the word statistics comes to mind, most of the folks tend to think in terms of the mean, median, mode, or maybe standard deviation or variance or normal distribution curves. Friends, all these aspects of statistics are very common, but what I feel is that there are 5 basic elements when it comes to statistics. And those 5 elements are combined in a word or an acronym DCOVA. DCOVA means D stands for defining the problem. So before we jump into the statistical measures, we need to know what is it that is the focus of our analysis, or what is the problem we are trying to analyze and find solution to. This is the first step when we approach statistics, defining the problem. For a supermarket chain, the problem could be a slump in sales year on year. For a hospital chain, it could be a sudden rush of patients or a scarcity of vital medicines. Or for a corporate environment or organization, it can also be attrition rate or focus on improvement of top line or bottom line, or maybe optimization of costs, and on and on. For an individual, it can be the analysis of personal health statistics such as blood pressure, heart rate, sugar levels, and other vital parameters year on year, or maybe for some other time periods. It can also be financial planning and financial investment analysis for a family. Whatever it is, the first step is to define the problem. So what is it that statistics is going to help us analyze and measure and try to arrive at solutions? Once the problem is defined, the next step is C, that is collect. So we need to collect the data, and we know that there are 2 forms of data. One is primary data, that is the data we collect ourselves, and one is secondary data, that is the data available already, whether in the form of government surveys or census, or maybe the surveys or research done by organizations for their own purpose, or in some cases we can have the data from the internet, which is collected by certain organizations and shared by them at a fee. So this data is called secondary data because it is already ready made for us and we don't need to put effort in collecting it. In a subsequent video, we will discuss more about these various modes of collecting data. But for now, let us understand that the second step in our statistical analysis is to collect the data or obtain the data. Then we have O. O is organize. So in some cases, we have the data in the form of structured tables, that is rows and columns, but in many cases the data is either semi-structured or unstructured. For example, if we want to analyze the data of customer reviews for a product on Amazon, this data is highly unstructured because it is in the form of text whose length is not having any restrictions in terms of specified columns or rows. It can also be in the form of images or videos. So this is unstructured data, and our job is to organize such unstructured data into a form which can be analyzed easily. So there are various tools and methods which help us in organizing the data. The third step after defining the problem and collecting the data is organizing the data for or to make it ready for analysis. Then the fourth is visualize. So let's say we have data, but when we talk about data for companies or organizations, the data is huge. It runs into thousands of rows and columns, and it is very difficult to analyze the various parameters seeing this tabular structure even though it is organized. We all know that when it comes to analysis, pictures speak a lot more than the words or numbers. So how do we visualize this data so that we can arrive at the insights faster and in an easier way? There are tools which can help us do it. In fact, these days we have sophisticated tools such as Power BI and Tableau that can help or convert large amounts of organized data into easily understandable visuals that are not only static but also dynamic, that is, that are interactive. For example, if we observe the movement of stock of a company in any site such as Money Control or ICICI Direct, etc., we can see the variations by tweaking the values of either years or by varying the information from an individual company to its comparison over other similar companies in the same sector, or we can include some other variable that is of interest to us. So what we are talking is data that is visual but that is not static in the form of PowerPoint presentations but is dynamic and interactive with us. So these type of visuals help us analyze and arrive at the interpretation of the data in a much easier and faster way. So this is the fourth step, that is visualization of the data. And the final step is A, that is analysis of the data. That is to see the trend of the data in terms of, as we discussed at the start, the mean, median, mode, which are the central tendency measures, which we will be discussing in a subsequent video in detail. And analysis also involves variation from these measures in terms of standard deviation or in terms of variance or in terms of absolute mean deviation and so on. Analysis also involves finding out relation between two different parameters, whether without cause or with cause, that is correlation and regression. It also helps us determine the outliers, and it helps us in various other analytical measures such as finding out the probability of such events happening in the future, which is called predictive analytics, and also what measures we can take to change those trends so that we arrive at our required goal of either improving the profits of a company or sales of a retail chain, or optimizing the costs of working of an organization, and on and on. So basically, whatever we discuss in statistics is around these 5 steps, that is defining the problem, collecting data, organizing the data, visualizing the data, and analyzing the data, or in other words, DCOVA for short. So hope this video helps in understanding statistics at the basic level, and in subsequent videos we will discuss some aspects of various subtopics of statistics and data analytics. Thank you and have a wonderful day.